Good evening. If you're in the UK, it's evening, and welcome back to another edition of the Poetry of Painting. Welcome to you all, whether you're in the UK, anywhere else in the world, and whether you're watching live or on replay as well. So, as always, please feel free to make comments and ask questions. And if you want to volunteer a poem for any time, please do that as well. That'd be lovely. But anyway, this week, I have as my guest this week the rather talented young poet Oscar Nicholson. He's been on the show before and just really enjoyed his poetry. And evidently he's trying a slightly different style this week, so I'm really intrigued to hear how that's going to go. So let me bring him onto the screen. Bear with me. Hi Oscar, how are you?
Hey, how are you? All good?
Good, yes, thank you. Welcome back to the show. Lovely to have you back again. Really is.
Thank you. Lovely to be back.
Oh, and Chris says, hi Fiona, lovely to be with you again. Thank you, Chris. Great to have you watching. Thank you. So this week, Oscar's written a poem about a painting of mine, which is not on the wall behind me because I'm very pleased to say that it sold a little while back. So I'm going to put it on the screen for you so you can see what we're going to be talking about. And it's called The Lookout Tower. And if I remember rightly, it was 40 by 50 centimetres. It's in oils, as most of my work is, on canvas. And it was just painted with a knife. And it just, for me, it's one of my favourite sort of scenes about dramatic skies, reflections in water, the light and shade and the contrast, and just sort of sunset here, and it could be sunrise because I can't exactly remember where it was now, but I'm pretty sure it was sunset actually. But so that's a little bit about the painting, and it's one that Oscar chose to write about with no input from me as normal. So his poem is going to be totally his response to the painting without any influence from me whatsoever. So Oscar, would you like to read us your poem, please?
Yes, I would be delighted to. Okay. Can you hear me, see me okay?
Yeah, both really good. Thanks, Oscar. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Look up from a stronghold, reaching hubris free. Embrace the weightless climb of eyes as you float on cloudy guides throughout these iridescent skies. Look out upon this pointed height, massaged by the coming dusk. Lie beneath its dwarfing might, dissolved in a stupor of awe from the comfort of a peaceful shore. Inhale the safety of a basking vessel, whispering along the twilight sound. From the shingly ground caress its sides in the tranquil sighs of lapping hues and swelling dyes. Follow the hopeful causeway of its silent wake. Feel your thrashes and gasps filter into hopeful ways, buoyant on the break of soothing waves. Look on and through this prismatic tower. Look out and back in panoramic strokes. Look out in dreams to distant horizons. Look back in love to sheltered cause. Yeah, that's it.
Wow, that is just so brilliant. I love it. You've definitely got a lot more rhymes in there, which you said you were trying to do. And just again, it's the way that you see so much more than just what's on the canvas that just amazes me. And it's, well, all my poets do as well. It's what the painting says to them, but it's just magical to hear how it triggers different thoughts in you, from what I see in it, which is just beautiful. Thank you so much.
No, thank you so much.
Oh, well, hopefully you'll let me post that in due course on Facebook with the painting as well. So if that's all right. Oh, Chris says superb poem. Absolutely. It was definitely superb. Thanks, Chris, for that.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah. So, and did you find it more difficult or easier, or to write in a slightly different style this time?
Well, interestingly, what I first did, I initially wrote a poem that I'm very much used to about this. I just wrote it because I usually begin with just visceral description of what, like, trying to write what I feel about it, what my initial reaction is. And I wrote that, and it felt fine, it felt good. And I left it to one side, and I was like, okay, that's fine. If worst comes to worst, I'll just do that. And then I came back to it, and I was like, okay, this is good, but I want to try something a bit different. And it was a bit harder because it was something consciously limiting myself and trying to find rhymes. It was a bit more artificial, I think, but I still enjoyed it because there is still creativity working within a set schema. So it was something newer, and it was a bit out of my comfort zone. So I had to sort of surrender my pride at the door a bit and just see how it went. And yeah, it was different, and it was nice to try out. And I think also because I still managed to, I think, preserve the themes of my initial skeleton, which is quite sprawling and quite disorganized, and kind of sense them a bit more. But yeah, it was short answer. That was quite long-winded, but short answer. Yeah, it was a bit more difficult, but yeah.
Yeah. And do you think you'll do more in that style, or try other new styles as well? Or
yeah, I think I'll give it a try, purely because that's how you realize what your best thing is, or what you're best at. Because if worst comes to worst, I try doing stuff like this, and I don't think it's as good as my other stuff. Or but you always, like, if you're trying to write, you should always try new things and try and grow, because then you'll still have your center and your core won't get lost, I don't think, unless you write something completely out of left field. So I'll try as long as I can. And then, but the beauty of having these paintings is I can go back to them and write as many poems as I want about them, which is nice. But
well, if you want to post them anytime, and you want to post the painting with it, you'd be very welcome. Just let me know, and I can send you an image so that you can post it with it if you like. That's fine with me. I'm just very honoured that all my poets write poems about my paintings, which is just so wonderful.
Can I ask about the context of this painting?
Yes. It's not anything really particularly deep, I don't think. It's just a scene that just spoke to me. It's the power of the elements, the sky, the clouds, the way that the whole world depends on our sun. If our sun stopped rising and setting, we would cease to exist. And the reflections on the water, again, water just fundamental to our existence as well. But and just the beauty of that, just in, and okay, a sunset can be a little bit cliche in beautiful sunsets, but they are beautiful. And I think just to take that time to stop and look and appreciate what's around us, whether it's a sunrise, a sunset, and it really, with something like this, it's getting the structure in and then getting the colors at a particular point, because the colors like that only last for a couple of minutes, really, and they've changed so much already. It's just getting them in really quickly. And it really is just appreciation of nature and the natural world. And also maybe, it's one of my little ways of trying to raise awareness of the beauty of the world around us, in the hopes that people will do a little bit more to take care of it. It's very precarious where we are at the moment.
Yeah, well, that's absolutely fascinating for multiple reasons. A, because I completely agree, because I often find probably the only solace when is just looking at, just finding time. It's a luxury, unfortunately, now, finding time to appreciate rather than pillage and destroy nature like we have, just to appreciate the beauty. And sunsets, they're cliche for a reason, because regardless of the modern world where you live, you can see them, and it's beautiful. And I really got a sense of this poem of, like, the dusking of it. Dusk is my favorite time of day, and sunset to dusk, when things are just settling down, the world's kind of gone from the working world, and it's kind of just like settling down in peace. And that kind of transition period, I love transition periods, both like geographically and temporally. I like dusk, and I like positioning myself when I go to just observe. I'm lucky enough to live in Durham and at home by a river, so I can sort of position myself in between, like, the utter peace of nature, and kind of I like hearing the distant swell of cars as well. But the other thing that's interesting about that is because in my initial draft, going back to what you were saying about how looking at sunsets can lead into appreciation, not just of nature, but of like just more being kinder to other people. And my initial draft, which something I left out of this one purely because of just space, was I was talking about how this painting, I said that I was trying to use some water imagery, how the image of the tower and the sun was rippling rigidity into perspective and filtering prejudice into new perspectives. And it was like, because and I called the tower prismatic in my poem. And what I meant by that, I don't know if that was clear enough, was that it's kind of a beacon outwards. And I don't mean a beacon outwards just in the fact that it's a beacon to look out on the sea and also look back at home. It's also a kind of metaphorical beacon, because there's something so pure about when you realizing your place. And what I liked about this is you had the sea, and you also had the implied background of kind of home and like adventure and comfort, was what I was trying to get at.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, and this is it. It means different things to different people as well, doesn't it? Which is the lovely thing with art, that not everybody will like any one particular painting, which is as it should be, because if we didn't all have different tastes, the world would be a very boring place. And so one person will see one thing in it, another will see something quite different. It may be about beginnings or endings for them or something, and other people might just look at it and think, does nothing for me, which is fine. As I say, no one painting is going to resonate with everybody on the planet. So and going back to your trying a different style, that's also really helpful when in painting as well, just to try something different now and then. And it may work, it may not, and even if it doesn't work, you still learn something from it to take something from that to maybe incorporate in your work, or something to learn not to do because it just doesn't suit my creativity, my personality, whatever. So it's and I see other artists' work and see videos on Facebook and places, and I just think, oh, I'd love to give that a go. And sometimes I do, just to try it. When you see someone doing it, normally it's someone who can do it, that process really well, which is why they're promoting it. And of course, anyone doing something really well makes it look easy, which generally it's not, but it's still fun to have a go, try it out, see what happens. And even if it goes nowhere, at least you've done it, you've tried it, you've enjoyed it, and expanding knowledge and horizons at the same time. So
I completely agree, because the same with writing, and art must be the same. It's I know we have a kind of like romantic vision of art sometimes, which is just, it's like this kind of like descent of creativity and it just all comes out at once. But like, that is true. You need to have some time to be creative and think, but also you need to practice your craft. You need to experiment with different styles or whatever. And you can only learn that through painting differently, through painting itself, through writing differently. Just keep writing and writing, which at times is hard, especially like me. I'm really busy with other stuff, so I don't have the time, annoyingly, to write that much. But I do, when I'm in the swing of writing more stuff, you just get used to it, and you're and if you write a lot, you can filter out the good from the bad with a wealth of stuff to choose from, rather than just, oh, that's bad, I'm not going to try that again.
Yes. Actually, going back to that point just now, you don't have a lot of time for writing, and I'm really so pleased that you've agreed to do the show today, because you are a very, very busy person at the moment, because you've got something really important happening in the next month. So.
I've got I'm in my final month of uni, so I've got a couple essays and a couple exams done, which is kind of surreal, really, because I guess with COVID sort of taking away the social experience of a year or two, it doesn't feel like it's been 3 years, but it's kind of surreal, and I'm excited to just have a few months off, really, and then God knows what I'm doing afterwards. So
have you got any ideas about avenues you want to explore, or?
Yeah, so I know I want to go at least try something creative, and my initial thought is, because I do a lot of acting. I've applied to a course at drama school. I applied for 2 at Central. Unfortunately, didn't get one, but I've got another one going. Very, very competitive, so I'm not counting my blessings. And some people don't get in for ages, so it's not like it's the end of the world. But acting is one thing I'd love to do. I really enjoy it, but I'm also drawn to directing, writing, film. And this is the problem. I know I want to do something creative, but I don't have any. Kind of the paradox of wanting to do something creative is you don't have a concrete structure on what that is, and it might be a case of just getting something in the industry and just going from there. But I know I don't want to. I know a lot of friends and who have just gone straight from uni to work in stuff like, I don't know, in insurance or something amazing. They've got really good high-paying jobs. I'm really proud of them, but I just I'm not drawn to that kind of thing. Because
life's a bit too short to be giving up on dreams so quickly, isn't it? So
and also I think that I can always, if I touch wood, get a decent degree from Durham, I can always try something creative, and if that fails, then fall back on something a bit more, I don't know, something a bit more standard, I guess. I know it's a remarkably privileged position to be in, to be able to think about doing something creative with our lives, but I guess I would regret myself and get myself if I didn't try. So
absolutely, yeah. Well, I'm with you on the acting thing, because at school I was in the drama group, and we had such fun doing it and putting on plays, and we had pretty big audiences at the time, and we even went on drama tour down to Falmouth, where there's a small theatre on the main street in Falmouth, and so we were doing street theatre during the days to promote the shows, and we had afternoon matinees and evening performances, and it was just absolutely amazing. I really, really loved it. It was such fun. So I can certainly understand why you would want to go that route.
There's something so.
Sorry,
sorry for interrupting, but there's something so pure about the relationships you form in a cast, and what you get out of performing, I guess. And I'm someone who doesn't really know who I am. So I like to do voices, act a lot, and I guess it's kind of weird. I'm a bit of a social chameleon. I don't have a set identity. I still don't know what I like, what I don't like, what my opinions are. I like parroting and just forming, and I kind of form myself through loads of characters. This probably sounds very unhealthy, but it means I like acting and feel most of myself when I'm someone else, if that makes sense.
Well, I think for an actor as well, the more self-opinionated and positive you are about yourself, it probably makes it more difficult to convincingly portray another role, because you're having to override all of those strong feelings and strong beliefs and strong traits, character traits, to try and be someone completely different. So
completely agreed.
Yeah. So maybe you've got the ideal personality at the moment for being other characters. So that's exactly
my thought process in that. I don't know, because I'm naturally quite a creative person, always have been. Not to I still have loads of shortcomings in that field, but I mean creative more so than critical, and creative more so than and then my mind wanders all the time. I like making links, not necessarily finishing tasks. I like making loads of links, and you're absolutely right, because I think acting allows you to be. I think playing a role is the ultimate form of empathy if you're playing someone's story, and I like to try and be empathetic as much as possible. And I guess as much as it pains me in day-to-day life having a sort of fractured sense of self, I guess that is why I'd like to pursue acting, because if I did acting day-to-day, then that kind of sense of fracture would go away, because I'd be performing, which is what I love doing. So, but it's a very hard industry to get into. It's a grueling industry. Yes. It's overly glamorized, because when you're at the top, you can do anything, but all the struggling actors, it's very, very difficult. So I'm under no illusions that it's going to be hard. But
Well, Chris says you must try now to be creative, because if you become a corporate wage slave, you'll never make the break.
I completely agree, Chris.
That's true.
Yeah.
And he also says that, you know, in art or theatre or music, you can be who you want to be, which is very true. So, yeah, and you know, if you are in the position where you can try it, go for it. You know, I'm painting so much now, but for many years, although I still painted and drew during the years, I couldn't focus on it the way I would have really liked to. You know, if I could have done my time again, I would probably do it differently, and the art would be a much bigger part of my life all of the way through. And Chris says, just remember, when you're at the top, you have the longest way to fall, so it's not all glamour at the top. Yeah, that's very true.
It's true. It's true.
But yes, so I mean, I'm not full of regret or anything, because, you know, I've done some really exciting things, and, you know, I'm very, very fortunate, especially compared with so many people in the world. But as a personal thing, I would have loved to have, you know, had more creativity going on in my life in terms of art all the way through. But, you know, it is as it is, and I'm trying to make up for it now, and really enjoying it. So, yeah, so we've got a few things going on. So the book, which is with the publisher now, so that's hopefully going to be available very soon, certainly by the end of July, and possibly sooner. So that's full steam ahead, which is brilliant and really exciting. Can't wait to actually have a copy in my hands. We've got a show coming up at the end of this month, an online show. It's done on Zoom, and we'll all be in our own breakout rooms, so people can come around the show and visit us. They don't get stuck with one person. They can keep, you know, there's 15 different artists as well, all very different styles, different mediums, from obviously oil painting through photography, fiber sculpture, ceramics, encaustic wax, watercolor, acrylics, mixed media. I know I'll have missed something out because I normally do. But yeah, so that's really good, 29th and 30th of April. So if anyone wants tickets for that, which are free, either check out my posts on Facebook or just message me and get that sorted out. And then there's an art fair at the end of September as well. So got lots of things going on at the moment, which is very exciting. But it's another reason why I'm actually not writing any poems at the moment, because it's just pressure of time, to be honest, at the moment. So I may come back to doing poems as well, but just right at the moment, it takes that pressure off. So yeah, so it's exciting times. But I would definitely, you know, encourage you in every way to try and pursue what you really want to do if you can, and give it everything you've got and see what comes of it. Because if you don't, it won't happen. And you know, if you don't try, you'll look back at that and think, I wish I had. Why didn't I do that? You know, so just do it. Go for it. Absolutely.
Thank you. Wow. Yeah, everyone around me says that, which is really lovely, really supportive. Yeah. But I guess we'll wait and see. It's hard to think about when I guess I've got a month more of uni, and then to make sure I get a half decent degree that means that I do have something to fall back on. There's no point talking about falling back on something if I don't really fall back on. So, but I'm in a good position, so fingers crossed it'll be okay.
Absolutely. And you've certainly been putting in the work. You know, I know that you've not been available to come on a show or anything because you've been working so hard for it. So yeah, you're going to be great. Definitely.
Thank you.
Yeah. So will you, hopefully after you've done your degree, will you be coming back to do some more poetry?
Absolutely love to. Absolutely love to. That's one thing I will have time for. Well, in the summer, basically my life is going to be taken up by just living life, and I'll have time to write as many poems as I can. So yeah, I'd love to.
Excellent.
And as I said, my last exam is I think it's the 19th to the 20th of May. So after that, I'm pretty much free. I've got some stuff on, but nothing set in stone.
Yeah, well, we'll get you booked in for a show after then. So give
Yeah, I'd love to.
a couple of weeks to chill out first. I think you probably deserve that.
Yeah.
I think. And then get you back on the show. That'd be lovely because, yeah, the poems that I've heard from you so far have been just absolutely superb. Really enjoyed them, and
Thank you.
And it's yeah, I think everyone would be really pleased to have you back on the show to be able to listen to your poetry and our chats, which are always interesting as well. Oh, Chris says, good luck with the rest of your uni course and exams. So good luck from me as well, obviously. Wish you all the very, very best with that. And hopefully you'll be coming back. Oh, when will you get the results? That'll be a little while, I guess, is it?
I think it's my graduation is late June, so I assume it's around then.
Right.
So maybe a bit before.
Yeah,
which is quite nice. It's quite nice. It's not like A-level GCSEs, which takes a good few months. Yeah. So
we'll, hopefully you'll be back on the show and holding up your certificate or whatever.
Wow.
Yeah, you will definitely. That'd be good.
Yeah, I think it'll be nice because I don't know. I think I've said this before, but I study English, which is in some ways good, but it's also quite disillusioning because you get forced into this really critical, hypercritical, and I don't know, at times cynical habit of looking at, in this instance, literature and art. Whereas as someone who likes to be creative, it's fine, it's nice, but there's not much scope to look outwards. It's more kind of constricting. So it'd be nice to get out of the world of hypercritical academia, actually, because it's not something I want to do. It's been okay for 3 years, and it's not been too bad, but yeah, it's not. It made me realise that it's not what I want to do. So,
but hopefully, it's also helped in, well, obviously it's been a factor in forming the person that you are today, and hopefully it's also giving you a grounding, even though it's not something you want to follow and carry on with, but a grounding for all the other things like the poetry and acting and things where language is so important. And
yeah, definitely. And it's taught me to think. It's taught me to think critically about a lot of things, critically in a good way. Giving me the tools to evaluate information and misinformation, more importantly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, I think we're coming up to more or less to the end now of our allotted time for this week. It's been absolutely brilliant having you back on the show, Oscar. Really appreciate you taking the time to do this at this point in your course as well, and doing us another fantastic poem, which I say, if you can send it to me, it will go out in due course on Facebook and Instagram for people to read, because I'd certainly like to read it again. In fact, I'll listen to the recording again to hear it again, I think, first, because I think it needs, it's going to need a couple of, listening, is that the right word? A couple of, hearing it a couple of times, basically, to fully appreciate all the nuances of it, which is lovely. So it's not just a straightforward poem. It's got a lot of stuff in there that I want to hear again. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Sam. It really means a lot. Thank you.
And I shall very much look forward to having you back on the show again once you've finished all your exams and you've had a bit of time to chill out, as I say, and hear some more of your beautiful poetry. So thanks again, and all the very best from me, and I'm sure from everybody who watches this, I'm sure they'll be also wishing you all the very best as well. And thanks everybody for watching, either live or on replay. Great to have you along, and I will be back again next week with another guest for some more poetry of painting. So thanks everybody. Thanks, Oscar. Speak to you soon. Take care. Bye everybody. Bye.